community affected by the devastating wildfires. We stand with you. From all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, our hearts go out to those who've lost loved ones, homes, businesses, belongings, and precious memories. In these challenging times, we're here to keep you informed and connected. For the latest updates, resources, and ways to help your neighbors in need, stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580. Together, we'll rebuild. Together, we'll recover. Together, we are strong. KBLA
What
Talk
up, niece?
1580. Your voice, your community, your station.
Hey, so I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light. See the light. Toxic trait today is wanting to be felt, heard, and seen, right? And it's not because we don't deserve to be understood, but because this relentless need for what it is, which is external validation, I just feel like it's eroding our sense of resilience. Every time something feels uncomfortable is labeled as a threat to our mental health. Not every uncomfortable moment is trauma, and not every difficult situation is harmful to your nervous system. Our inability
Wait,
to
Andy, play that again. Who is this beautiful clinician, this sister right here?
Raquel, capacity expert.
Raquel, capacity expert. Listen, this beautiful sister, this clinician here is on complete fire. And she is saying something that I believe to be so profound that I had to jump off. Like I have a whole bunch of topics that me and Attila, we put together some topics. I got a bunch of them lined up. I said, I'm jumping off script. Because, and I think I sent this to Andy at midnight last night. I was like, what in the world? Andy, we got to go here now. Listen to what she says one more time.
So what I believe is the most toxic trait today is wanting to be felt, heard, and seen, right? And it's not because we don't deserve to be understood, but because this relentless need for what it is, which is external validation, I just feel like it's eroding our sense of resilience. Every time something feels uncomfortable is labeled as a threat to our mental health. Not every uncomfortable moment is trauma, and not every difficult situation is harmful to your nervous system. Our inability to distinguish between genuine threats and opportunities for growth is what's actually dysregulating us, if you ask me. The overuse of terms like mental health and nervous system regulation, it's created a culture where discomfort is demonized, and we're losing the ability to thrive in some cases. Some people are just losing the ability to just cope. This is why I speak so much about capacity, because it's rooted in developing us as adults to be able to handle the modern day world as it is, not as we wish it to be.
That made us strong.
Hey, if she ain't cooking, I don't know what it is. I remember I used to drink water out of the water hose. I remember I used to be outside for 12 hours a day. You understand me? Hey, man, we were a different generation of kids back then. I remember we stole lumber and built a clubhouse. We don't know nothing about carpentry, but we built a clubhouse. I remember we used to take shopping carts and take the wheels off and build go-karts and hit the streets, all in traffic. And we made it home every night. I'm just saying, it's a different situation. And so it caused me to develop tonight's topic. Craving. That's our topic. Do you agree or disagree? Today's most toxic relationship trait is the desire to be felt, seen, and heard by our significant others. Now, listen, I'm not here to say you shouldn't be felt, seen, and heard. But I am here to say you shouldn't be addicted to it. You shouldn't have the Bobby Brown jaw. I'm sorry. You shouldn't look like Tyrone Biggums. You got some more validation. You see what Instagram and X and social media has done? Craving. And what are we craving? Validation, acknowledgement. Huh? That's why you put a filter on top of your makeup. Oh, gosh. That's why old guys are dyeing their gray hair. My uncle's 78 years old. I said, listen, man. I said, let your gray hair show. I'm 35 years younger than you, right? And I'm sorry. I'm 35 years younger than you, Unc. He's 78. I said, I let my gray hair show, man. Come on. You got a whole, it's blacked out, like, just everything is. Validation is the new addiction. Is the craving for attention destroying modern relationships? The psychological parallels between validation and substance addiction. Why social media is the gateway drug for emotional dependency. How the need to be seen erodes intimacy and vulnerability. The relentless pursuit of external validation is the emotional equivalent of chasing a high, leaving modern relationships hollow and transactional. Are we trading authentic connection for fleeting dopamine hits? Now, listen, I understand attachment theory. I get it. Yes, it's good to be seen, to be heard. It's good for parents to be emotionally attuned to their child's needs and wants. It's not a good thing what our parents did to us in this regard. Because when I was growing up, children are to be seen, not heard. You see grown folk in here talking? What you doing in here? You understand? So I understand there are some nuance to this discussion, but I think what's really missing as we continue to strive to grow up. See, growing up has nothing to do with how many times you've made it around the sun. It has nothing to do with your chronological age. It has to do with how you Listen to what I'm about to say. It has everything to do with how you recreate yourself after being raised by your parents. That's true adulthood. So, although being acknowledged, being validated by someone, it is a good thing, but you should not form a dependency on that validation. Do you see? You should not. No one talks about self-validation, right? Self-acceptance. This is the key. Krishnamurti talked about it under the guise of self-awareness. The dark side of being heard. Does the need for understanding mask our fear of intimacy? How emotional exhibitionism undermines relational depth. Oof. The connection between oversharing and avoidance of true vulnerability. 1-800-920-1580. You need to get in here and talk about this. This is real talk tonight. Is the need to be heard a defense against being truly seen by oneself? Being truly aware of who one actually is? Oh my God, you need to hear me. Because I'm afraid to look at me, so I'm going to flip it and make it a relational expectation of you. You see me, you hear me, you validate me, because I'm too scared to do it myself. True or false? The desire to be understood is often a cover for a deeper fear, the terror of truly being seen, flaws and all. Is our obsession with being heard really just a way to control how others perceive us? Oh God, we so broken. We're in the business of perception control. We're so wounded. We're in the business of trying to change how other people think of us and view us. And oh Lord. Ego validation or true connection. How modern relationships are failing the resilience test. They didn't see me. They didn't hear me. So I'm justified in leaving. Do you see how it all comes back to self-work? The role of self-sabotage in the relentless search and pursuit for approval. Why resilience dies when validation becomes a currency. Oh, goodness. Is this not the internet? No disrespect to my little sister, Angel Reese, but this is what she's currently going through. We live in a clickbait society. Oh, this dress is revealing and hot, and I'm fine, and I'm free. Let me show it. Oh, I don't like to be objectified. Well, wait a minute. See, you want the good attention. You're fine. You're gorgeous. You're beautiful. Yes, honey. Yes, work it, sister. Oh, you're amazing. But when it's, you look ratchet. Or you look like you on the blade. Or when people start getting inappropriate, then you're trying to control the narrative. That's the question do you understand? We live in a validation-seeking society. So when you hear people say, America is a narcissistic nation, don't exclude yourself. Because I'm going to take it a step further. We're not only a narcissistic nation, we're a codependent nation. We are both the codependent and the narcissist simultaneously. We're always in search of supply. And one of the most intoxicating and addictive supplies out there is acknowledgement, validation. how performative love is replacing authentic emotional labor. Modern relationships have become playgrounds for ego inflation, where validation serves as a currency and resilience is sacrificed on the altar of instant gratification. I'm not here to date your wounds. I'm not here to be a butler to you. My name ain't Alfred to your wounds. I'm not here for that. And neither are you. And if we're good people and if we've been working on ourselves, do you know we find moments to appreciate the person that is currently sharing our path with us? We find those moments and we go, you know, thanks for being here. Wow. You know, this moment means even more to me because you're here. I appreciate you for walking this journey with me. And I hope you appreciate me for walking a part of your journey with you. Do you see? Listen, could this be the reason why cheating hurts so bad? Your parents cheated you. Ugh. They cheated you by not being emotionally attuned when you needed it. So now, can't nobody let you down. Hell no. Can't nobody make you revisit that wound that's been aching for decades. Seeing ourselves versus being seen. The silent killer of self-worth in the age of Instagram. When I come forward, the voice of reason, I'm opening the phone lines. You want to talk that talk? Let's get it. No, I'm just articulate. I put words together well. He said, is this spoken word? That's funny. Hey, this is a topic right here. Y'all gonna get on the phone? Who's getting on the phone? Let's hit those like button. Let's go. Peace and salute to my good brother Zoe. Greetings to the chat. Yo, y'all come in. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Share this video. And listen, please hit my super chat or my Cash App. You guys have no idea how you help me, how you help my family. You have no idea what that support is actually supporting. So all I'm saying is, if you got it, let's all do it en masse. Okay? If you got it, let's do it en masse. Not 2 or 3 people. Listen, we have 50, 60 people in here. 60 times $5. How's your day going today, man? Hope all is good. Thank you, Jason. Everything is cool. I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm at work. What in the world? I love it. But you know what I love? The moderators in here don't be bullshit. Soon as one piece of fuckery happen, they be like, doop. I be trying to respond before I can respond. What up, Wayne Franklin? Much love from Kentucky. Louisville? Lexington? Or what's that city in the middle? What's the city in between Louisville and Lexington? Huh? Where Kentucky State is at. That's how you say Louisville. White people be like Louisville, Louisville, Louisville. Louisville. You from Louisville? Okay then, brother. He said a fat Spike Lee. Hey. Oh, I love it.
So a lot of people struggle with being addicted or dependent to external validation or belonging. And I want to ask y'all a simple question. How do I become independent of the charity of others to feed me? How do I no longer become dependent on other people's pantries for food? I have to have my own pantry that's stocked. See, you only need external validation when you are not happy with yourself. External validation is when there is a lack of internal validation. See, narcissism involves a dependence upon the opinions of others. This is why narcissists can't tolerate criticism. Because if you tell me that I am a bad person, I don't feel good on the inside, so your opinion determines my reality. Narcissism is about insecurity. It's insecurity at its root. Because if I believed in myself, I don't need your approval.
Gosh, we're not supposed to belong to each other. We're supposed to be one with each other. Do you see? We got it all backwards. Happily ever after, my one and only, the person that's going to love me, the person that's going to take care of me, the person that's going to cover me. You got the power to cover yourself and an entire universe, but you need another universe to cover you. Is that coming from a place of unhealed wounds? Validation seeking, it makes you feel like you've accomplished something because somebody's weak enough to cover you. Oh, you think it requires strength to cover another. But we've already laid it out. So many men step up because it gives them a sense of purpose. Ooh. That ain't your purpose to cover somebody else's wound, sir. So many men step up so they can consider themselves a man. True men conquer their wounds. They don't perform. We talked about performative empathy yesterday, right? We talked about performative behaviors and fronting like the good person. Many men front like the good man because they know that old adage. What speaks louder than words, ladies? Behaviors. All I got to do is act right. And even if I'm acting as well as Denzel Washington, it's still an act. And here's the deeper part. We're so wounded as people, we'll know intuitively that they're acting, but we'll still shed a tear. We'll still be moved by their behavior. Do you see? We're all addicted to validation. How social media, validation distorts our sense of self. The psychological toll of living for likes and comments? Why is it easier to curate your image than it is to confront your truth? My God, 1-800-920-1580. Oh, you gonna look like something. Oh, you gonna smell like something. Oh, you gonna present well. That's what yesterday's topic was about. You got manipulators out here mimicking the vibe, the mood, the flow, the quote unquote class of what's Mrs. Huxtable, Claire. But it's all an act. I know people don't want to hear it put that way. In a world where being seen is more important than self-reflection, are we losing the ability to confront our inner darkness and embrace true self-awareness? 1-800-920-1580. Get to your phone lines. I want to talk to everybody. After I set this up, I'm opening up the lines. I want to speak to everybody from across the nation. The emotional narcissism epidemic. Are you addicted to being understood? You don't want to spend time understanding yourself. You don't want to cultivate self-knowledge, but you want to be seen and heard and accepted and approved of. Come on! Why the quest for understanding is the new narcissism. Woo! How emotional dependency on partners create fragile relationships. The toxic loop between validation seeking and victimhood. When I come forward. Ooh, the voice of reason over the phone lines. I want to talk to everybody. Let's get it. Yeah, y'all know what it is. We got the most unique topics in the world over here. Ain't nobody talking like this. The setup is real. I got more. Ooh. Let's get it. Let's get it. Hey, put up an emoji. If you're in the chat, put up an emoji. Tell me what you thought about tonight's setup. LOL. Okay, then. Wound Titans is crazy. Y'all tell me. Put up an emoji to explain what you thought about tonight's setup. Nah, man. I done learned my motherfucking lesson. We got to do it. We got to do it. Somebody got to do it. Buzzing on the beat, ho. Alf said it was bullshit. Is it, Alf? No, oh, don't delete. Why you do us like that, Alf? Really, Alf? Damn it. We didn't have to. Alf said, I'm joking. Okay. I mean, you can have your opinion. Listen. You can have your opinion. It's only a joke if I laugh. Everybody, come on, get to your phone lines, call your brother. Listen, the super chat is down at the bottom of the chat. There's a little $sign down there. You could give that way, or you could give directly to my Cash App. I'm asking everybody support tonight. Please support, support, support. This is my longest break. We got 4 minutes left on this break. So now's a good time to support. All right? I got my peppermint tea. Hey man, these topics is I was in my head today. I knew my niece was gonna be away. We sending love and prayers to Attila and her family. So I was like, I'm finna go off script. Attila was like, hey, what we talking about? She did to me. Normally I'd be like, Attila, what? I don't remember any of them damn topics. What are we talking about? Attila send a list of topics. Lots of crying. I understand. But listen, you got an ancestor on the other side. Well, I promise you. She gonna show up in them dreams. She gonna holler at you. She gonna be like, baby, it's wonderful over here. Don't even worry about me. My cousin brought them huge ass bottles of Belvedere. Shot is fire. Yeah. You guys have done a wonderful job at hitting the like button. I really appreciate that. Blessings, LS. Blessings to you. We got more likes than people in here. I'm thankful. Vodka. Live in 60 seconds.
Let me check to see. These are the lowest cost options covered by a Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving you. This is the human kind. Walgreens.
I occasionally have more discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort and is good for 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. You're listening to the voice of reason with no warning, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Today I'm going to be talking about a dynamic issue. It's a finer point, but I think it's worth knowing because some people who are healing from narcissistic relationships ask about this. What's the difference between seeking approval and seeking admiration? before I get to that, and speaking of healing, again, go to that link in the video description. Just click on that if you're interested in starting a monthly healing program from narcissistic abuse. Please go ahead and click on that, get more information about it. Love to have you join us right from the very beginning and really get the maximum utility. So each day, you really can push further on your healing process. And if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. And if you want notifications as a reminder of your little dose of anti-narcissism every day, just hit that. Just hit that notification bell and you'll get that information. So without further ado, though, let's talk about the difference between seeking approval and seeking admiration. So a lot of people have wondered about this one. And it was a great question when it came up. I'm like, I should take this one on. Admiration and approval seeking are very different dynamics that can often get confused in the conversation about narcissism and narcissistic abuse, and can leave people who are survivors of narcissistic abuse sometimes wondering if they are the one that's the narcissist. Seeking admiration and validation is one of the core dynamics of narcissism, as you know, and honestly is observed in every narcissistic person out there. It's sort of a required ingredient. We have covered this so many times on this channel, but just as a reminder that validation and admiration seeking is a way for the narcissistic person to keep any threats to their fragile ego at bay. The more admiration they get, the more soothed that they are. So everything in their lives tilts towards them seeking out admiration. And if they don't get the admiration, they get really irritable and angry. Admiration is a tool of regulation for them. So a person who is clearly not narcissistic was asking me, and she was wondering, she said, am I the one who's narcissistic? Because I really do seek approval. And she said she was confused because the approval seeking has landed her in more than a few narcissistic relationships. And I thought, wow, I've heard this question before from so many survivors. This person was confused whether approval seeking and admiration seeking were the same thing, because then she got to think, oh my gosh, what if I'm the narcissist? And this is a person who had narcissistic parents, who had to sort of really fend for themselves at a rather young age, and then actually went into a couple of marriages with malignant narcissists. She was never noticed for the things she did, never really got recognition, and certainly didn't get approval of any kind from her parents. And she found that she spent her adult life trying to seek out approval, not admiration. Admiration and approval are not the same thing. But once she said that, I thought, wow, it's a really interesting point, and I really could understand that confusion, something that's come up with survivors. Seeking approval is a different process than admiration. Seeking approval is the asking, am I okay? Am I enough? Please let me know if I'm doing okay. Many survivors...
Which one was Snoop looking for? Admiration or approval? Right? If he was looking for money, that would go to the narcissistic side, which would line up with admiration, to be admired by the people in power. Because he's got enough money. We do acknowledge that we live in a narcissistic society, right? Narcissists, according to Ross Rosenberg, right? Narcissists are attracted to codependents, right? Codependents are attracted to narcissists. We're the children of a narcissistic nation. So is he performing to get Donald Trump's approval and validation and acknowledgement? He doesn't need the money. He's good on money. He's probably the most iconic hip hop artist in the history of hip hop. So what did he do it for? Everybody's scratching their head, right? Oh, well, look at the Jacksons. Based on how Michael describes Joe and the other kids describe Joe, Joe might have been a narcissist, right? Very hard, very abusive. Mother Catherine seemed so sweet and docile. Maybe she was codependent. The way Jermaine presents, he presents like a narcissist. Them kids was in competition with the natural star, Little Mike, who had to put everybody on his shoulders. And then when he got to a certain age, he said, you know what, I'm leaving, I'm out. Broke up with the group on stage at the Victory Tour. This is the last time you guys will see me with the brothers. He had to move on. Tired of carrying the load, right? Put that into intimate relationships. The paradox of validation in modern relationships. In an era of unprecedented connectivity, the human desire to be seen, heard, and understood has grown into an intricate paradox. On the one hand, validation seems to foster connection and intimacy. On the other hand, its relentless pursuit threatens to undermine the very foundations of meaningful relationships. In our quest for validation, a natural expression of our humanity, or has it evolved into a dependency that mirrors addiction? You got to have it. It's not a good man, not a good woman if they don't validate you. Now, at the same time, there's a fine line and there's a gray area too. You can't be with someone that simply never notices how you contribute positively to their life. But at the same time, that can't be a power pellet either that boosts your self-esteem, your self-worth, right? That you can't be chasing after that. If they do it in an organic way, man, I see attachment styles everywhere. Attachment wounds everywhere. All you got to do is not give your woman something on Valentine's Day. Don't even mention Valentine's Day. Don't plan for it. Don't react to it when it happens, and see the wounds get triggered. You're programmed to be wounded. You're programmed to be codependent. And you're also programmed to be narcissistic. On tonight's topic, we're going to explore this provocative question. We're going to analyze the psychological, the philosophical, and the spiritual dimensions of validation in modern day relationships. I've got callers on the line. I got to talk to them. When I come forward, we're going to talk to my brother, JW, from South Central Los Angeles. First one in the building. Let's get it. I hope it's making sense. I hope you guys are rocking with me. South Central finna cook. Carolina 1, Zoe, keep cooking. Hey, man, y'all should call in. It's not me. I know y'all want me to talk. I want to talk with you. Let's do that. On Cash App from Mine, M-I-I-N-E. One Cash App. Yo, can we all do it? It's only $5. If you've got it, share it on the Cash App. Hopefully you guys are enjoying tonight's conversation. But I'd like to converse with you. Big ups to Mine. Thanks for that support, fam. Yep. The week is halfway over. Question: if a quiz is called quizzical, what is a test called? You know what it's called. He got it out of a crack in the box. I mean, he's talking about testicles. So he must have the man-flavored crack in the box. Aye, y'all know what it is? His sharpener dull as fuck. Exactly. It's the glasses. I think it's the glasses. I think. Could be. Let me get some gray ones. Those are the ones I ordered. Hey, what up, Herschel? We in here acting a fool. Don't forget to support the channel. Like, share, subscribe, and donate if you can.
You're scrolling through social media, and you see someone's post getting tons of likes and comments. Suddenly you feel a pang of jealousy or insecurity. Or what about this? You just got some great news to share. Maybe a promotion or an award you worked hard for. But people don't react as enthusiastically as you wanted them to. And it suddenly kills your mood. Sound familiar? We've all been there. We all have a deep-rooted desire to feel accepted and valued by others. That's why we tend to seek validation from others through their praise, admiration, and support. But when we rely solely on others to validate our worth, it can leave us feeling empty and constantly seeking more. And here's the good news. You have the power to validate yourself. With that said, let's explore a few simple yet powerful psychologically backed strategies to help you gain that inner confidence boost that comes from within. Recognize the cycle. Let's start by acknowledging the cycle of seeking external validation. Take a moment to tune in to your thoughts and feelings. Notice when you're seeking external validation and ask yourself, why? What situations trigger your need for validation? Maybe you've been feeling insecure about something lately and want some praise to boost your ego. Or maybe you didn't get enough attention and praise as a child, which caused you to grow up needing it more than others. Understanding the patterns can help you break free from it. By knowing your motives for seeking external validation, you can find healthier and better ways to address them and start building your self-esteem from within.
Man, the voice of reason is on fire. That was a bluesy little clip. I mean, I felt like I was in a juke joint somewhere, but he was dropping jewels. Man, you're listening to the voice of reason on KBLA Talk 1580. We have an amazing topic, and we're talking about this highly addictive drug known as validation seeking. And we're talking about how this drug, the effects of it seeps into our expectations of our partners. And at the same time, we have the answer to it, which is the cultivation of self-understanding, self-knowledge, self-wisdom, self-worth, self-esteem. Do you understand? Self-validation. And as the clip elucidated, that particular point about most of this stuff is happening in early childhood, right? Early childhood, whips, works in progress as parents, toxic parents, codependent parents, covert narcissistic parents, parents with narcissistic traits that aren't technically diagnosable as NPD, but parents that struggled. And it's okay. There is no perfect parent. Not one. So every time they miss a beat, you gain a self textbook. Listen to what I'm saying. A self textbook. Right? Whatever you modeled is the curriculum you must undo in order to graduate into adulthood. And however long it takes you to get there, that's just how long it takes you to get there. Doesn't matter your chronological age. You can be 65 and still a 9-year-old wounded child. Here we go. JW, South Central, Los Angeles. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic, my friend?
Hey, how you doing, Zoe?
I'm alive and well, my friend. Alive and well. Good to hear your voice in 2025. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Yeah, beautiful feeling. It triggered me to call in when you mentioned the lumber and the chopping cartwheels and making go-karts.
Oh, so not the topic. Okay, cool. That was the good old days.
Wait. That ties into the topic.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna paint this mental picture. As a child, during that time frame when we were doing exactly what you mentioned about the wheels and the go-karts and the lumber,
Mm-hmm.
I was a kid, and everybody used to say, man, you wear your feelings on your sleeve. Now, you probably heard that expression before, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
But my generation, since I'm about to turn 69 in the 4th of February.
Man, congratulations, brother.
Right on, bro. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they would say you wear your feelings on your sleeve. Now, this is grade school. So, normally when I call in, I always mention progression or process.
Mm-hmm.
And which is really the solution. And now I'm going to paint this mental picture and move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Junior high school, I had to go through the learning pains and growing pains and etc. Mm-hmm. And I can recall maybe around high school, the females would say, oh, yeah, you think you this, you think you that. No, I don't think, I'm letting apparently you thought it because you brought it up and the thought never crossed my mind. Implying that I had grown from when I was a kid and I wore my feelings in my sleeve to where I had this self-confidence and self-motivation and knew how to reinvent myself and grow and mature and et cetera, et cetera.
You were internally resilient. I'm listening. I hear you. Let's go.
That part. And so moving into young adult and manhood and middle age, you know, I would say to people, being confident in all the above that I just mentioned, I wouldn't care how you feel about me. You don't put no clothes on my back.
Word.
You don't put a roof over my head.
Word.
Or food in my belly.
Come on.
So I know who I am.
Come on.
I'm leaving it at that. I have more to say, but you got more other people to speak on the topic.
Hey, man, listen, I brought you in. I know you long-winded. I got space for you tonight. What? Come on, J-Dub.
I know I'm the first caller, but yeah, the bottom line is, when I call in, and I always use the same basic word, which is process. That's to encourage other people that once we go through this process, no matter how time-consuming it is, once you complete it, you arrive.
That's right.
And like you stated, you know, it doesn't matter. You can be a grown 65-year-old man and have that 9-year-old kid inside you. You know, but once you grow up, you grow up.
Yes, sir.
It takes time.
Yes, sir. Man, let me just say this, man. Like I said, you have no idea how happy I am to hear your voice in 2025, man. You've been with me since we started this thing, and you still here. I love you for it, brother. You brought Los Angeles in the building. And we always miss you when you don't call, man. I love that, man. Thank you so much. You brought South Central in the building. If you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. Listen, validation is deeply rooted in human psychology. From infancy, the need for acknowledgement is tied to our survival. Developmental psychologist John Bowlby's attachment theory emphasizes that a secure bond with caregivers lays the foundation for healthy emotional regulation and self-esteem. Just because you had two parents don't mean they was two good parents, two emotionally attuned parents. just because they paid the bills and bought you backpacks and and the Care Bear lunchbox, don't mean that they were emotionally attuned. And where there is a fall off in the caregiving, there will be a cultivation of something that needs to be reconciled. And I'm talking about something psychological, right? Even if it's the attachment style, maybe it's anxious, preoccupied. Well, let me lean into my parent to get them to see me so they can validate me. Let me perform for them. Let me be the answer to their every need or question so I can get there. That happens, Yeah. Yet, when early validation is inconsistent or absent, a compensatory craving for external affirmation often emerges, leaving individuals perpetually seeking others to fill a void left by unhealed wounds. But why is this yearning so powerful? Is it easier to be seen by others than it is to engage in uncomfortable self-reflection? Carl Rogers, the father of person-centered therapy, proposed that unconditional positive regard fosters self-acceptance. However, our modern culture increasingly rewards conditional validation, whether through social approval, career milestones, or digital likes. This reinforces the belief that self-worth is external, undermining our intrinsic value. Are y'all listening to what's happening? This is happening in relationships today. Who are you to that person? Who are you to their wounds? When we come forward, I'm going back to the phone line. We're going to Atlanta, Georgia. Let's get it. Where y'all at? Where my people's at? These phone lines should be crazy right now. Hey, Andy, every time you play some beats, I'll be vibing. But you got to play one that I want to hear one. I want to hear that For Moms, Tribe Called Quest. Bro, you on it tonight. But where are y'all? Okay, I'm on it. But I want y'all to be on it with me. Call me. Support the show. Get down with your brother. That's right. K Slade, get up in here. 1-800-920-1580. No cursing when you get on the air. 1-800-920-1580. If you want to have a real conversation, a real exploratory conversation, call me right now. 1-800-920-1580. Moderators assemble. Put that number in there. 1-800-920-1580. Call me, call me, call me.
If your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes. Financial infidelity. I'm dating a fat person. Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this gonna be crazy.
How about the heavy stuff? The child wasn't his, and you still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How is that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I was like the kids. Is this okay? Roll up there?
He told me he had a vasectomy. I'm pregnant.
Betrayal has been committed.
Hit you with the bad touch routine.
How does he maintain his humosity?
He likes it when it pinches my lips.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man. Karate man moves on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
Yeah.
How do you rate women so well?
So Williams,
Reason and accountability.
the voice of reason.
You have to be able to affirm yourself internally. Needing other people to affirm you makes you too vulnerable and dependent on others for validation. Other people have their own needs, and they can't always lift you up and rescue you from your negative thoughts about yourself. This is not to say that external validation isn't good. Compliments and recognition are great, and they feel great, but they can't be required for you to feel whole and complete.
Man, Dr. Tracy, man, she don't play. You guys should find her on YouTube. Dr. Tracy's work is amazing. Very, very thorough information. This is why I played the clip today. What is self-validation? Well, according to Psychology Today, self-validation is the act of accepting our own internal experience, including our thoughts and feelings. Self-validation could include encouraging ourselves instead of seeking to be encouraged. You have to learn that it's okay to encourage yourself. You have to learn to prioritize self-encouragement over external encouragement. Did you hear me? This is why I love my son so much, my oldest son. My God. The boy, I just poured into him as a youngster. I told him, you're going to be greater than me. I know you're watching me play, but right here at this stage, at this park, I ain't nobody when it comes to the game of basketball. But shortly, if you continue on the course you're on, man, oh Manischewitz, what I'm doing now will look like child's play. I said, and it's all about you, how you feel about yourself, and I told him, I said, the game is rhythm. You like to dance? Find your rhythm on the floor. And when you dance, I'm not dancing, so I can't take any credit for that. This is all you. And now that I'm doing this for you, now you have to do it for yourself. I said, because I'm not going to always be there. I said, as you matriculate up the ladder, high school, I'm there to a certain degree, but really, I gotta defer to your coach. So there's going to be moments where you might feel like you're alone, but you still got you. Pour into yourself in those moments. Do you understand? Man, let me tell you something. Senior year, Fresno State. Fresno State writes an article about him because he's going to be the guy. He's the man. And they're talking about the fact that he's a philosophy major. And they're like, for New Williams, philosophy is the name of the game. I said, oh, they doing a article on Big New? Let me get this. Before, and let me tell you, his mother is the one who called me and said, yo, they wrote an article about New, Fresno State. I'm going to send it to you. And I should have known. She said, I'm going to send it to you and you tell me what you think. I should have known. I get the article, I'm reading it, and it sounds like I wrote it. But a part of me is proud, but I hear him in it. It's like he took what I told him and he recontextualized it for him. I was like, man, so I was really proud. Like, and this article like contained things that I have said to him over the years, but he took it and re-engineered it for him. These were his words. They weren't my words anymore. But his mother was like, he sounds like you. I'm sorry. The boy sounds like, I said, no, he sounds like him. But do you get what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to prioritize encouraging yourself over being encouraged by others. And I would tell him when he was young, you're going to lead. You're going to lead people. I said, right now, you can't lead with your mouth because you don't have any seniority. I said, but how you lead or how you climb up this ladder of leadership. I said, every time you get on the floor, there's a new team, a new college, whatever, pros, whatever. You go find the best dude and you dog him on defense. Dog him. And that's been his little mode of operandi. And he believes in himself. It's not me. He be talking to me like, listen, Dad, you getting old, man. Just go on, sit down, Pops. And I'd be like, yo, I got it. No, man. But I love that he wants to lead. He is the leader. And when I see it manifest, and he's in Turkey right now, they just went to the championship of their in-season tournament. They went to the championship. He was paid less than the other American they brought in because he came from a league that they didn't respect. And this Turkish GM is more like Jerry West. The Turkish GM was like, nah, I'm bringing in a dog. They was like, well, who is he? They didn't even know. So they paid him less than the other American. The other American is soft as doctor's cotton, getting paid twice as much. I said, don't worry about all that. He was like, no, Dad, I know. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to show out. And then the whole league is going to want me to stay. I said, I should be telling you that. He was like, no, I already understand this, Dad. And besides, you've never been a pro. Okay, put me in my place, son. That's true. I ain't never been a pro. But do you see? He encourages himself. He's internally directed. And sometimes we have to be that way. Acknowledging our strengths and efforts, he does that. Noticing and accepting our feelings. It's okay to feel uncomfortable. It's okay to feel pain. It's okay to feel disappointment. Emotions are ephemeral. They will subside. They gain strength when we run and resist. Carl Jung, what we resist persists. Prioritizing our needs. To prioritize your needs means to facilitate your own needs. See, we set up the facilitation to come in from an external source. You facilitate my needs. See, right here, self-validation equals the prioritization of needs, our needs. Not create a honey-do list for your significant other. No, it's you-do list for yourself. Right? Treating ourselves with kindness, self-empathy, right? Saying nice things to ourselves, the eradication of negative self-talk, accepting our limitations or mistakes. I am a work in progress. I am a whip and I'm gonna make mistakes. I look forward to making mistakes because in the mistake is the lesson. The lesson is the blessing. So really the mistake is the blessing. Now, the mistake only becomes a mishap when I try to minimize the mistake, avoid the mistake. I try to fall into perfectionism so I don't have to deal with mistakes, and then the mistakes start to compound. Do you see? Self-validation, you accept and embrace those mistakes. It's not your partner's job to make your wounds feel wanted. Gosh, I know you don't want to hear it put that way. Somebody told you that they got to accept you lock, stock, and barrel. No, they don't. Especially in light of the fact that most of us haven't accepted ourselves lock, stock, and barrel. So why would you put the onus on me to accept the complete you, and you ain't completed you yet? Psychologists call it individuation. You ain't merged no shadow with no light. You just know how to put filters over makeup. You know how to make up a mask. You know how to Beijing a beard. I know you don't want to hear it like that. I'm going to get off my soapbox. Nazarene X, Atlanta, Georgia. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Hey, man, you doing your thing. Always, man. You're so much like that. Don't even trip. Self-approve.
Yeah, man. What are your thoughts, my friend?
Man, tonight's topic is reminding me of a word I collided with in my later years. The whole aspect of cynicism. So the undercurrent of that I found was that to the tune of the topic, I feel like what we're really dealing with is people that are prioritizing the algorithm over the almighty.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have that position of authority on yourself, not to mention the clarity of knowing that online personas and so forth, like that's embedded in the matrix, if you will. Like that's an imaginary field, and the whole time, like as long as you aren't going anywhere, that's where my cynicism comes in, because it's like, if nothing else, I feel like you can welcome the adversity, or even, I dare say, my problem or whatnot, is like after a while, I became so-called cynical to where I enjoy, I'm trying to keep it in the past tense as I'm saying it, but I enjoy the quote-unquote approval from my demons. And that is like a thing because... But
I need you to break that down for me. Approval from your shadow, your demons, the inner dragon, right? Approval. Talk to me. What does that look like? I've never even heard of that concept. I'm taken aback. Tell me more.
Well, for one, any type of challenge or adversity or trouble, it's like in one breath, there are familiar spirits or familiar entities, or like, I've been through this before and whoop-de-whoop. But from that shadow self and the whole of it all, I still firmly believe that there are shared shadows amongst us. So just because I haven't been in XYZ situation before, like I actually it's almost like spiritually I'm keeping a tally or a score, like, I've conquered this one or whatever. I'm looking for the new one as I'm pleasing God, or looking to just stay in step with whatever my purpose is. Like, I'm not caught up in worrying about your fake likes or whether that's online or in my face. You feel me? It's just like what I want, because apparently I'm going to do nothing but attract more opportunities for my further elevation, my further self-fulfillment and so forth. I don't want to keep attracting the same thing. I'm actually, in a way, on the hunt for my next challenge. Because the whole time, like, I'm becoming more and more confident in the God within that's been sustaining me the whole time. Like, sometimes we got to get out of that way of taking credit at the same time. Because that's where, like, the wrong type of pride can come in. Like, you don't want to be boastful or egotistical. But now it's like, facing the shadows, it helps me see the light better.
Understood.
Right? So
yes, understood. I got you.
As we're getting on, I guess this whole external validation, like I liken that to the money. Even as an artist, you might hear things where it's like, sometimes an artist doesn't even really first preoccupy him or herself with getting paid. Like the true vein of artistry and creativity is just that self-expression.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a gift and a blessing in itself. Like to just be able to have a voice that means something to you. And again, that's the whole internal piece.
Mm-hmm.
And when we present it to the world, and that's the artwork itself, we can be sensitive, but what we're doing is sharing an opportunity to draw light to thought, or like we're looking to evoke an emotion or issue change or something like that. It's not necessarily like, it's not for the payout, if you will, because the payout is inbuilt in that blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So on all fronts, it's just like, I think for me, seeing how, quote unquote, close I can allow the wrong energy around me, it's, how do I put it? How I'm looking for the words. It's like if somebody has the wrong impression of me while simultaneously having an open line of communication with me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm still willing to offer clarity of myself, I feel like it automatically sets the floor for someone to tell on themselves.
Stop. Hold on. I want you to think about this. Can your clarity clear their sight of you? When we come forward, back to Atlanta for the answer. Come on, y'all. Yeah, Nazarene in here cooking. I fuck with nephew when he on one. Nazarene, boy, you on that sticky icky? Cause it sound like you clear-minded than a motherfucker, boy. Hey man, you on it right now. But answer that question. Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, he killing tonight. Nephew on one tonight. I'm with it. 60 seconds.
So the first thing here is to separate validation of self from external validation. So what do I mean by that? External validation are things like, well, grades and standards of work at a job. To meet those standards, that is external validation, and we have to do that. You know, if we're studying, we want a degree, we have to pass the grade. We have to be able to take a test to validate that we have the knowledge that is required for the diploma. The same thing for work. You have to meet the standards of the work so that you can keep your job and that you get raises and promotions. All of those are things that we have to do, and there's nothing wrong with that. We can't just say, well, I don't care what other people think, and then not do a good job or not do our studies, and then we don't get the validation that is needed to get paid or to get that diploma or the certification or whatever it is. But that says nothing about who you are on a personal level. That says nothing about your personal existence. But it's amazing how much we confuse these two. We think when we don't pass the grade, when we get turned down for a job promotion, or when we don't get the job at all, we tend to take this very personal, and we get confused as to whether or not this validation has anything to do with maybe we're just not a right fit for a job, or maybe we did fall short, we didn't study enough. But that doesn't say that you're not a good enough human being, that you don't deserve to exist, or you're not worthy of having all the things that most people have, like love and attention and all those wonderful things that every human being has access to at any point. We tend to think that we have to earn those things through validation. Now, this probably comes from our childhood. We are often taught, well, if you do this or that, then you're a good boy or you're a good girl. We get confused at an early age about what it means to validate at a personal level versus just validating the fact that I worked really hard, therefore, I achieved this result. Or, that could be grades, like I said, or job performance. This also gets really messy when it is something that's sort of in the personal realm, but it still has nothing to do necessarily with who you are as a person who is existing in the world. So what I mean by that is when we get turned down for a date, we ask someone out and they turn us down, or someone breaks up with us. It's hard not to take that personal, and we are going to take that personal because there's a lot of feelings involved. But once again, that just says that you're not meeting the criteria for that other person. And it has nothing to do with like a standard or of being good enough or worthy enough. Once again, this is very hard for people to separate. As much as possible, you want to separate these two. Maybe you're just not a good fit for someone else. Maybe you're just not a good fit for what it is that they want. Again, that does not invalidate your existence, even though it might feel that way. It feels very personal, but separate.
So we're familiar with the term, I am enough, right? That's a self-validating term. You can also say, I am valid to me. Right? You know what we speak of tonight is true. You know what we're saying is true. So many people want to be wanted while simultaneously not wanting their full selves. Get back in here, Nazarene. I asked you a question.
Yes, sir.
What's the answer, my friend?
All right. Shout out to my Uncle Gregory. Ryan, peace to him. Again, to answer your question, to make sure I'm clear on it, it's basically, cannot clarity of self change someone's opinion of me?
Right. Because what happens is, and I heard what you said, what we tend to do is we try to coach the person, we try to give clarity, because really when we're giving clarity, we're trying to convince, we're selling them, and we're trying to pull them into how we view ourselves, right? Can you see what I see about me? And that's never going to happen. No one can experience you as you experience yourself. So trying to give clarity, it will only be symbolic. You have to remember that. It will only be symbolic. And it's okay for them not to see you as you are. Do you understand?
I do, and I believe even what you were speaking to is it's not even the so-called providing clarity, is being clear inside and holding that space. Right, like that clarity itself is the waymaker on all fronts.
Mm-hmm.
So to the tune of like, again, it's kind of cynical or whatever, but like my uncle used to tell me, in other words, like, you know, people could think what they want, and 2 bullets to the head to change all that.
But wait, what you just said about clarity is deep because it's exactly in alignment with Krishnamurti. What did he say? He said the highest level of intelligence is to be able to observe without judgment. Do you see? Do you see the futility in trying to explain the truth of you to another? That's like the Milky Way trying to explain the truth of itself to Andromeda. Like,
And that's the thing, like
but hold tight. I know you want to get back in here, but stay with me. We got to come forward. When we come forward again, we're gonna talk to our brother Nazarene next and get his final thoughts. And it's an interpretation. They haven't met the real you yet, and neither have you. Really talk to a woman about being put. I don't know. You got to rewrite that, bro. You can say that again, Zoe. Say what again? Say what again? Can a man talk to a woman without being put in the sensitive category? I mean, that question goes all over the place to me. You talking about sensitive subjects? You're talking about expressing emotions? Like sensitive in what context? What are you saying? Can a man open up and share his feelings, his thoughts, his dreams? Like, I'm trying to understand. Being sensitive ain't a death sentence when you're secure in who you are. So the category ain't even changing anything real. There it is. You should be able to share your feelings because you're secure with yourself. In a way, when you notice that you can't share your feelings with a woman, for fear of being labeled sensitive. That's your homework right there. You are sensitive because there's a fear of being labeled sensitive. When you grow up spiritually, you'll understand, I don't give a fuck what you think. I'm finna tell you how I feel. Like, and when I say, sure, I care about what you think about things, but I don't give a fuck about what you think about me. Like, you are from another universe looking in at this universe called me. We speak a different fucking language in this universe. So your interpretation from being on the outside looking in, that's why I keep telling y'all, people can be in a relationship, but it's two individual realities cohabitating in a relationship. And guess what? Those two individual realities can't know the direct experience, right, of the other person. They can know the shared experience, two different people sharing this experience, but can you know this person's experience, direct experience of the shared experience? No, you can't. They can tell you, this made me feel good. Or, I didn't really like this, but you can't really know it from an experiential standpoint, from their experiential standpoint. So if you're attracting women that cause you to fear expressing yourself, there's your work. Stop giving a fuck. You got to go back to your childhood and see how you were wounded. Do you see? Because that's manifesting. That ain't your partner, that's you.
What is the most addictive substance on the planet? Now, when I first asked myself this question, immediately my mind went to, it's got to be sugar. Widely available, widely accepted. Almost everybody is using it, right? And they do it openly, freely. As a matter of fact, they say if you don't use this substance, there's probably something wrong with you. So I thought it was sugar. But then I said, wait a minute. There are now groups and organizations who are speaking against sugar. And it is now widely understood that sugar is no good for the human body. So now I thought to myself, okay, maybe it's coffee, because there's no organization against coffee, right? Surely it has to be coffee. There is no real taboo around it. Sure, there might be a few individuals who speak against it, but almost everybody is addicted to the substance known as coffee, and it has built a $1 trillion industry, or at least a multi-billion dollar industry. But when I really started to dig and ask myself at a deeper level, as far as addiction is concerned, I realized that it was no physical substance at all. As a matter of fact, it was a psychological and emotional substance known as external validation. That's right. The reason why Apple is a $1 trillion company, and the reason why the products that you get on Apple's device all become these multi-billion, if not $1 trillion companies, is because we are hooked to external validation, the validation of others. We are hooked to the attention, the affirmation, and the acceptance of strangers. And that is what pushes this industry. Now, I'm not going to tell you that I'm against these things. I'm not anti anything, as a matter of fact. I believe that these are tools that can be used. As a matter of fact, they are allowing you to get this message right now, which is hopefully of value to you at this very moment in your life. But nevertheless, it doesn't take away from the reality that we as a people, we as a culture, we as human race have become absolutely infatuated and addicted with the idea of having others approve of us. Now, is this a new phenomenon? Absolutely not. Is it going away? I don't think so. But I do believe that it has spiked in its users or addicts, per se, right? There are more addicts now and more hardcore addicts of external validation than there's ever been in the history of mankind. And that I know without a shadow of a doubt, because never before have we had the ability to access so much external validation. Back in the day, before the phones and the tech existed, you could step into a village and maybe a few people pay attention to you and validate you. Maybe you could do some things in order to impress the people in that village, and they would pay you attention and they would pay you affection or whatever it may be, right? Maybe you could be the biggest whiner in the entire village and that would get you attention, just like nowadays. Things don't change much for you nowadays. Anyway, you find yourself in a place where you are seeking that external validation, but you can't necessarily find it in every space and every place, right? And at a certain point in time, the people around you, they start to think to themselves, well, we can't just live our lives to, service this individual, all the attention and affection and admiration they want by simply, propping themselves up as a victim. We need this person to be productive in our culture, in our society. But step into 2023 and beyond. As a matter of fact, before 2023, we can go back even 10 years from this date. 10 years.
I love the young brother. He was cooking. Yes, this is the culture. We live in the crave culture. Craving validation, approval, acknowledgement, attention. But yet, paradoxically so, we refuse to give ourselves self-compassion, self-understanding. We refuse to cultivate self-wisdom. You becoming jaded is not you becoming wise. Somebody hurt you, so now your defense mechanisms are up. Your boundaries are now borders and walls. They're not pliable, they're not scalable, they're in defense mode. You've created a moat around your heart. That's not self-wisdom. Self-wisdom goes deeper and says, how did I magnetize this experience to me? Yeah, psychology is starting to use these terms too, Mirroring. Oh, we're mirroring each other. Yes. It's real stuff, man. Let me get my brother back in here for his final thought. Nazarene X? All right.
Yeah, real quick on the final tip. I just encourage everyone to remember that, every ear isn't equipped to hear. All eyes are not equipped to see. So you just fight your boredom by chasing every sense of purpose that comes from within. Remain relentless and convicted in that, and the way gonna clear itself. Just stay focused, stay on course.
I like that, but were you going to answer my question I have for you? Do you remember it?
I do not. What was that question?
Nephew, it's okay, man. You did a great job talking with me tonight, man. I loved it. But let me just say this. Guess what you just did?
And give me that question right quick, man.
No. Yeah, ATL in the building. Hey, let me just say this. I love the fact that, people call in from all over the country on a nightly basis to discuss what are really some difficult topics. First off, there are insecure attachment styles that block intimacy, that block closeness, that block connection. Now, we understand that we've talked about these insecure attachment styles, whether it's anxious preoccupied, whether it's dismissive avoidant, whether it's fearful avoidant, or a combination, a mix of those three, right? What we know is you can't be intimate unless you're vulnerable, right? You can't be vulnerable unless you get close. So if you're far away from yourself, meaning the truth of who you are, if you're far away from the process of self-validation, self-acknowledgement, self-esteem, self-worth, self-approval, if you haven't cultivated any of that, it's going to be very difficult for you to cultivate intimacy with another. Now, you can have sex, but you won't be intimate. Do you see? Do you see? It'll be performative. It'll be you getting yourself off as much as they're trying to get you. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Do you see? Validation and the fabric of intimacy. Remember, intimacy, in to me, see. Do you know how frightening that is for the person living as themselves? They don't want to see into themselves. So imagine trying to be intimate with somebody and it means intimacy. See into me. I don't want you to see into me. I want you to get in here and get this work in so I can get off and go to bed. How many relationships exist like that? Validation in the fabric of intimacy. The need for external validation introduces a potent challenge to intimacy. Relationships thrive on vulnerability, trust, and mutual respect. Yet, the craving for acknowledgement can distort these dynamics. When individuals prioritize being understood over understanding themselves, relationships may devolve into transactional, do you see? Into this transactional based thing where emotional manipulation masquerades as connection. Come on, man. Consider the phenomena of transactional emotional manipulation when individuals weaponize vulnerability to extract validation. This dynamic fosters performative nurturing, as we talked about on Monday, right? Where caring becomes a calculated act rather than a genuine expression of love. Are we unintentionally commodifying affection, trading emotional currency instead of fostering genuine bonds? Furthermore, the cultural demonization of psychological discomfort exacerbates this issue. In a society that prioritizes intimate or immediate gratification, discomfort is often avoided rather than confronted. This avoidance, it weakens resilience, making relationship challenges harder to navigate. Right? This is how you could turn a conflict into a catastrophe. No, it's just a conflict. It's not a catastrophe. It doesn't have to be catastrophized. No, it's a conflict. And it's okay to have them. And it's okay to grow through them. It's all right. It's okay to not have an answer right now. Do you see? Are we cultivating a generation ill-equipped for the discomfort necessary for true intimacy? Imagine falling in love with somebody and they're fearful avoidant or dismissive avoidant, and they got to face themselves one day. I really don't want to lose this person, but I'm used to losing people. I'm used to getting to a point where I can't take it no more and I just tap out. Imagine getting to a point where that person says, not this person. I'm going to purposely lean in no matter how uncomfortable it is. Imagine getting to an internal space of resilience to where you go, I know my primary caregiver missed opportunities for emotional attunement with me. I know I've got decades of conditioning of loving independence and being by myself, right? I know I love the honeymoon portion of the relationship when it's all good and it's safe for me to show I like somebody and show that I care. But the moment it deepens and it gets deeper and deeper, I start to get claustrophobic. Imagine in the claustrophobic moment, they say, nah, not this time, not this person. They're too valuable. I'm gonna lean in. And then imagine the anxious preoccupied says, nope, after all these decades of chasing, after all these decades of trying to fix it, after all these decades of being the one to call and apologize first, after all these decades of trying to have a conversation to get understanding so we can get back on the right track. Imagine in a moment, I said, no, my psychological conditioning will no longer dictate how I do this. I'm worth more than being a chaser. I'm pulling back. And this time, for good. Imagine how uncomfortable that is. But this is humanity. This is what we have to do. When we come forward, the voice of reason gonna cook up the rest of this meal. I'm tired. uh, 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 uh. Uh, 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 uh. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's topic. We didn't get a lot of support. I understand we're at the end of the month. Maybe it's getting kind of tight for my folks. I got y'all. Who is that on the phone? Andy. Who's on the phone? Just one more question. Swore I answered that clarity. You did. I had another one. Then we went forward.
So, what is validation? Validation is about feeling seen and recognized by other people. It's like a reassuring nod from the world that says, I see you, I hear you, and your feelings and experiences matter. In short, it's a way of feeling like you matter because somebody else thinks you matter. It's completely natural for us to want to be acknowledged by others and to feel like we belong. But when we let our self-worth become dependent on the opinions of others, we start creating issues for our mental health. Why? Because it's like building your happiness on unstable ground.
Just bring me back. You've heard it all. And it's really clear to me. Self-validation is, I want you to listen very carefully, self-validation is self-intimacy, right? Self-intimacy. You have to be intimate intrapersonally in order for you to be intimate interpersonally. Do you understand? Wounds, unhealed wounds, prevent us from being intrapersonally intimate. Again, acknowledging your feelings, that is intrapersonal intimacy. Not speaking negatively about yourself is intrapersonal intimacy. You go to therapy, you sit down, and a good therapist will say, hey, what are some of the negative narratives you speak about yourself? What's the story you keep repeating? Do you see? You can't be intimate. You can only be transactional. You can only be sexual. You can only be carnal, physical. You can't be spiritual, and relationships are inherently spiritual. Do you see? Krishnamurti put it this way. Self-knowledge is only from moment to moment, and therefore is a creative happiness from moment to moment. If you're dragging the wounds from yesteryear into these brand new moments, it becomes unhappiness from moment to moment when you don't get what the wound wants. Do you see? Do you see? The wound is a parasite that has taken over the sovereignty of your soul. You must reclaim it. The more you know yourself, the more clarity there is. Nas, remember you were talking about clarity and clarifying for others? You can't. You can only clarify for yourself. The more you know yourself, the more clarity there is. Self-knowledge has no end. You do not come to an achievement. You do not come to a conclusion. It is an endless river. Krishnamurti. The insights of Krishnamurti. Again, he goes even deeper. Freedom comes with self-knowledge. When the mind goes above and beyond the hindrances it has created for itself. That's Krishnamurti. But listen, you modeled, right, something in childhood which made you a child prisoner. Do you see? That blocked off your ability to be intrapersonally intimate with yourself, approving, acknowledging, loving, caring, empathetic. It prevented you from doing that for yourself. So you were raised with coping mechanisms. And then the coping mechanisms turned into expectations, co-authored by unhealed wounds and your inner child. Validation is our drug. I started the conversation. It's up to you to finish it. Man, that playlist was crazy tonight. Brother, what was the last record that played? I love my instrumental jazz pieces, man. What was that? Flight of the Blackbird by Zoe. It sounds so royal. It was beautiful music tonight. Hey, listen, I started the conversation. It's up to you to finish it. If you enjoy the voice of reason, be back with me tomorrow. You already know what it is. I got another slapper already lined up. Let's do it. I don't know about y'all, but that show was crazy. Yo, the shows this week been crazy, crazy. I don't know about y'all, but damn. They didn't want that smoke.
I thought this topic was a bit more triggering for women.
Yeah.
Regarding like clout and social media and external validation.
No. It was fire though. I'll be back. Holla at y'all. Hey, I love y'all. This was a great show. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Zoe Williams, voice of reason. I'm bouncing like bad checks.